Now, more than a decade ago, my VOA colleague Paul Ndiho was a video journalist embedded with rebel groups supported by Uganda, and he now joins me. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Ndimiake.
That was a very difficult and dangerous time for you, as you're about to tell us.
Yes, indeed. I witnessed the recruitment of child soldiers and the killing that took place in some parts of eastern Congo. And here is my account of some of the things that I witnessed. From 1999 to 2001, I was embedded with rebel factions in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. But nothing prepared me for the violence I witnessed there in 2001. One morning, I was caught up in the middle of the Lendu militia attacks against the Hema in Bogoro village near Bunia. In this and other villages, scores of people were killed and thousands were driven from their homes. What started as a land dispute between two normally peaceful groups grew into a larger clash when Ugandan forces entered the region. The Ugandan forces sided with the Hema, and this favoritism caused a backlash from the Lendu, leading to widespread killings. According to eyewitness account, the Lendu attacked the Hema in Nyekunde at dawn, killing everyone they encountered, including women and children. A cloud of heavy smoke blanketed the village. The stench from the burning bodies was unbearable. That same night, the Lendu militia also invaded Nyekunde Hospital, where hundreds of people were hiding, and cut them into pieces. Scores of nearby villages were also burned to the ground. I saw several mass graves where hundreds of people were being buried, and the Hema, armed with bow and arrow, stood ready to defend their village. It was this kind of carnage, recruiting and deployment of children as child soldiers that I witnessed in 2001, for which Thomas Lubanga Diallo was found guilty during the war in eastern Congo.
You know, I still can't even believe that was you looking at you. And also, to your credit, you shot every video that we saw in that particular package. Yeah. Now, the focus obviously is on Lubanga and the conviction for recruiting child soldiers. But your story gives us the impression that he and the Hema group were under attack from the Lendu group.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about that.
Well, what happened was, at the time, what he's being tried for is he was the leader of the Hema group, the Hema militia group that was countering attacks from the Lendu. So what he's being tried for is actually some of the things that happened along
the atrocities that also happened.
Absolutely.
So your perspective about the Lendus attacking the Hemas and Lubanga's group, give us some perspective. That seems as though he could argue that I was defending my people against this group. Absolutely.
You have to look at it in the context of the cultural, social, political, economic situation of that area. When you look at that area, there are two groups that have been antagonizing each other over a long period of time. So the Lendus are traditionally subsistence farmers, and the Hema are traditional cattle keepers who immigrated from parts of Uganda and immigrated to that part of Congo, where the Lendus were living. So the Lendus naturally control that area. So the conflict revolves around land and what other things that could be shared. The two cannot stand each other because they're trying to fight for the small pieces of land that are there.
Now, also involved in the conflict who are also facing charges at the ICC, Katanga and Gujolo. Tell us about their role.
They played a very significant role in the whole conflict because they were leading the Lendu militia groups in that part of the Congo. Unfortunately for them, their crimes even carry a much larger sentence because they are tried for war crimes and crimes against humanity. So when you look at what they did back then, when you look at the atrocities they committed, for instance, like the footage you just saw where hundreds of people were killed in one night. You talk about 5 million people, but nobody ever puts it in context to see how many people were killed, over how long. So this is the kind of thing that really sheds some kind of light on how many people were killed during that war.
Moving on back to Lubanga, you hear a lot of reference about how really the players in this conflict were way, way above him, that he was like this mid-level person. You met him while you were in Bunia. tell us what is your assessment of his level of command?
I think he's a very unfortunate guy. He happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, because from my interactions with him, even when I met his people, he was one of just a junior commander. The people taking orders from Ugandan generals and some Congolese guys who are serving in Kabila's government right now. So he was just a junior guy, but he happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think he's paying for the crimes that some of his leaders committed here. And
evidence against him seems pretty sketchy.
Absolutely. Last year, in 2010, they almost let him free because the evidence, there were cracks in the evidence. Some of the people interviewed, some of the key witnesses turned out that they lied about what had happened.
Yeah. And it's unfolding, so we're going to hear more. But for your bravery, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Very interesting perspective there from Ndiho, VOA reporter.